Xbox has had a very strong 2023, and 2024 is shaping up to be another fantastic year for Game Pass subscribers. Today, we will be going through the 30 best Day 1 games coming to Xbox Game Pass for 2024. There are certainly going to be many more games announced over the coming months, so make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all things Xbox. My name is Fletcher, this is Xbox Nation, and in no particular order, let's dive right in. First up, we have an awesome looking horror game set on an abandoned oil rig, and that is the incredible looking Still Wakes the Deep. In this game, you're an offshore oil rig worker fighting for your life through a vicious storm, perilous surroundings, and the dark, freezing North Sea waters. All of your lines of communication have been severed, and all the exits are gone, and all that remains is to face the unknowable horror that's come aboard. This looks utterly fantastic and comes to us from the devs that made Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Dear Esther, so you definitely know it's going to be a heart-pounding and gripping experience. It comes to Xbox Game Pass with a release date of early 2024. Now, this next game is probably one of the most anticipated games of 2024, and it's coming to Game Pass Day 1, and that is Hollow Knight: Silksong. This is the sequel to the award-winning Hollow Knight, and from what we have seen so far, I'm extremely hyped for this game. Players will get to explore, fight, and survive in this gorgeous platformer ruled by Silken Song. There is still no fixed release date, as we were due to receive the game in the first half of 2023, however, it's now slated for a 2024 release. Replace shocked us when it was originally shown off at the Xbox Bethesda showcase with some of the best pixel art direction seen in gaming. With its dark and gritty tone and exceptional looking level design, this was high on every gamer's lists. Replaced combines cinematic platformer, pixel art, and free flow combat with a deep engaging dystopian story set in an alternative 1980s. I cannot wait to dive headfirst into the mysteries around Phoenix City when it arrives Day 1 onto Game Pass sometime in 2024. Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl is the next entry in the genre-defining Stalker series, and it looks like it will amp everything up to 11. This experience will give players one-of-a-kind gameplay featuring elements of a first-person shooter, immersive sim, and horror. Not only does this world look incredibly deep and realistic, but soon after release, a multiplayer mode will be implemented to take on this horrid apocalyptic world with your friends. Unfortunately, due to the horrid war in Ukraine, this game has been pushed back several times, but they've stated that this game will be arriving into gamers' hands in 2024. I cannot believe we're getting a second game from this developer, and this is so high on my wish list for next year. Another Crab's Treasure, believe it or not, is a Dark Souls inspired adventure in which players will battle as a hermit crab trying to reclaim its shell. You will obviously have your standard seashell for bodily protection, however that hermit crab will scavenge armor in the form of cans, cups, and whatever it can claim from the sea. The developers Aggro Crab are such an awesome indie team, and I love every bit of this game so far. It comes to Xbox Game Pass Day 1 in 2024. Now, we've got another game to add to the Xbox Game Pass list in 2024. Commandos is making a triumphant return next year in the form of Commandos Origins. This game is set during World War II era and is centered around a storyline where the series' original characters unite to form the legendary Commando Squad. The game will feature over 10 missions across authentic historical locations, including the African desert, the icy landscape of the Arctic, and so much more. There's no exact date for this one yet, but we will keep you updated on the game and provide more details whenever we get more information. The game that was shown off at the Xbox showcase back in June has finally received a release window of 2024, and each gameplay trailer looks even more promising. Dungeons of Hindenburg is a sort of Zelda-like experience set in a colourful alpine village where you will complete puzzles, fight in some pretty awesome looking combat, and some light platforming. You'll be able to snowboard down a glacier, zipline through the forest, climb a mountain, or have a coffee by the lake. There's definitely no shortage of places to discover while you're looking for your next dungeon. This just looks like such an awesome experience, and I cannot wait to find out more in the coming months, and it arrives sometime next year. Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn shocked us with its announcement at the Xbox Bethesda showcase a couple of years ago. However, its exceptional presentation, glorious open world, and silky smooth combat made it stand out from most other games. You will be able to jump in and join humanity's last stand as gods and guns collide in this action RPG open world adventure. Not only will you be able to embrace magic and gunpowder, but the game promises to lead you all on an epic journey to lead mankind's final siege against a tide of the undead. This game was slated for a 2023 release, however it got pushed back to early 2024. This next game we still don't have much knowledge about, but it's coming from Avalanche, the team behind behind the Just Cause series. I cannot wait for Contraband, as it's a co-op smugglers game set in the fictional world of 1970s Bayern. The developers have stated that this is set to be their most ambitious game to date, with a stunning vast open world filled with beautiful vistas and incredible emergent gameplay moments. From news and leaks, it's still due for a potential 2024 release, so make sure you're subscribed for more news when it drops. If you're enjoying the video so far, do consider giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing for more Xbox videos like this every single week. Also, let me know down below which game you're looking forward to most in 2024. Thank you all for your continued support, and let's dive right back into the games. Now, Ereban Shadow Legacy is a stabby cyber stealth 'em up set in what appears to be a North African inspired world that's taken over by not so friendly robots. It's rare that we ever see parts of this world giving a kind of robo-apocalyptic treatment, where neon signs and steely walkways jut out amid sandstone buildings. The cel-shaded aesthetic looks so great, and the hero known as Ereban will have some nifty powers at her disposal. Most notably, she'll be able to morph herself into a kind of shadow smoke form that lets her quickly close distances on enemies, creep along walls, and squish herself through vent slats. The game looks really interesting, and I cannot wait to learn more as it comes in early 2024. These past couple of years of gaming have brought together a resurgence of cat games, including the wonderful Stray, but now we have another one, and this time it's known as Little Kitty Big City. Think of the massive hit Untitled Goose Game, but instead replace that goose with a cat and you have this amazing looking experience. As the title suggests, you are a cat living in the big city, and you must explore the open world filled with lots of surprises and ultimately find your way home. If this is anything like Untitled Goose Game, we certainly have got a huge indie hit on our hands for next year, and it comes to Game Pass Day 1. Euden Chronicle 100 Heroes was the #1 funded Kickstarter video game of 2020, and it's finally releasing in 2024 and will be a memorable experience for all the fans. With the prequel arriving in 2022 and blowing minds of countless gamers, it's safe to say that this next entry is the most anticipated and could be a massive hit. With its unique art direction, putting 3D voxel sprites in a real-world environment with great-looking turn-based JRPG goodness, it certainly is near the top of my own personal list. This will follow on from the previous adventure, so definitely check that one out before this game releases in 2024. Now, Lightyear Frontier is a farming game with a whole unique take that has never been seen before. You will settle down on a beautiful new planet and begin your farming adventure as you build a farm, plant and harvest alien crops, and discover ancient secrets. Not only will this game look stunning, but you'll be able to explore it with your friends. And to be honest, who doesn't like farming big mechs and laugh with your friends? If this works as well as Stardew Valley but with giant mechs, I'm sure we will have a massive hit when it arrives onto Game Pass next year. I think Xbox surprised us all back at their showcase in June, especially with the reveal of Clockwork Revolution. This is the last title that I really expected to come out of the creators of the Wasteland franchise, but I am incredibly excited to find out more about this game. It bears a striking resemblance to the critically acclaimed BioShock Infinite from a decade ago, with its rail riding, steam-powered mechs, guns, and alongside a colourful Victorian era. There also seems to be elements of the Dishonored series seemingly present in Clockwork Revolution, as the game world can be altered based on your actions. I can easily see why many want this game now, but we currently have a 2024 to 25 release window, but it would be great to find out more information and have more footage of this stunning creation soon. One game that has been confirmed with a 2024 release date by Xbox is an absolutely mammoth first-person title, and that is none other than Avowed. This is a first-person RPG set in the fantasy world of Eora, and it is being developed by the masterminds at Obsidian. I mean, a huge RPG made by the developers of Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds, it's always going to be high on many of you gamers' lists, and it easily sits as one reason to own an Xbox Series console this generation. We don't have much gameplay to go on other than a couple of trailers, but make sure to keep an eye out as we go into next year, as I'm sure we'll see more soon. This next game is one that I'm very excited to play when it drops onto Game Pass, and it's Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. Citizen Sleeper 2 takes the foundation set from the first game and builds upon it to introduce you to a brand new setting, alongside taking control of a brand new sleeper agent with a darker backstory. With the original Citizen Sleeper being esteemed as one of the best indie games we got that year, we've still got some pretty high expectations for the second game in the series. We only have a bit of brief information so far about the story alongside an animated trailer, so we have lots to learn, but stay tuned for the channel, especially as this game's slated for a 2024 release. One game that I've been playing already in alpha testing is Ara History History Untold. This is a turn-based strategy game being developed for PC by Oxide Games. The game was revealed at the last Xbox Bethesda showcase and is touted to be a similar experience to Civ and Humankind. Many of you strategy fanatics can rejoice as the short snippets of gameplay we've seen so far takes this genre to a whole new level. The developers have stated that this game will feature innovative mechanics and a story with no preset paths. It truly sounds like a unique experience. With both directors of Oxide, formerly of Command & Conquer fame, taking the helm, I have no doubt that this will be an excellent strategy game for Xbox Game Pass subscribers. I think a lot of RPG lovers will be ecstatic with this next announcement, and that is because Persona 3 Reloaded launches on 2nd of February and it arrives day one onto Game Pass in 2024. This new remake includes a brand new voice cast, which are all changed from the original PS2 game. There are also brand new cosmetics and even design overhauls of some players' favourite characters, but all of this is staying true to the original game and story. It looks like a fantastic remake, and to be honest, I wouldn't expect any different from the talented devs over at Atlas, and I cannot wait for this to launch early next year and day one onto the service. I think many Xbox gamers picked up an Xbox Series console solely for this next game, and that is Hellblade 2. Originally shown at the initial reveal of the Xbox Series X at the Game Awards, many were already hyped just to hear that we're getting a sequel to one of the best games of the last generation. With us seeing more gameplay at the recent Xbox showcase, I was absolutely stunned by the graphical masterpiece and outstanding acting. Hellblade 2 is going to be a massive game when it releases on Xbox, and many industry pundits have touted this for a late fall 2024 release. One game I'm still skeptical about is the upcoming open world dinosaur RPG, Ark 2. You will play the role of the man himself, Vin Diesel, also known as the hero Santiago, and experience an epoch-spanning adventure as he seeks to protect his daughter Mika. It's set in an impressive and massive new chaotic world that is overrun by invasive primeval creatures. From what we have heard so far about this game, it seems like a huge improvement to the first entry, and it's insane to think how far this leap could be. I might have chuckled at the thought of Vin Diesel in a video game, but again, I'll certainly give this a go when it releases next year. This next game is one that is arriving early next year, but was recently announced at the Xbox Partner Preview event, and this will make all strategy fans incredibly happy. Manor Lords is coming day one to Xbox Game Pass in April 2024 and is a medieval strategy game featuring in-depth city building, large-scale tactical battles, and complex economic and social simulations. From early previews and looks at this game, it looks utterly outstanding, not only graphically but mechanically. Many previews have stated that this is a city builder but with total war mechanics, and to me that sounds like an absolute match made in heaven. Believe it or not, but this next game was announced all the way back in 2012 and then seemed to have vanished off the face of the planet. Finally, last year we got to see the re-reveal, and wow, did routine not disappoint. Anyone unaware, this game is a first-person sci-fi horror game, with the game scored by none other than the legendary composer behind the Doom games, Mick Gordon. The short snippet we have seen shows us the player searching through an abandoned lunar base when something goes horribly wrong, and instead exploration turns into survival. The visuals and atmosphere are on another level, and I cannot wait for it to arrive onto Game Pass day one. One awesome indie game that I cannot wait for next year is the dizzying action-packed adventure Go Mecha Ball. This game lets you loose and gets you to explore and conquer 4 distinct worlds filled with an array of rampaging robots, massive bosses, and obstacles straight out of a pinball table. This game looks incredibly fast-paced and well-polished, and I love the details such as bouncy bumpers to launch yourself faster into the air to take down enemies. This is certainly a unique looking indie game, and I think it's high time we saw some great top-down action shooters, and this looks to certainly scratch that itch. It was announced back at the Xbox Extended Showcase back in June, and was announced for Game Pass day one in 2024. This next game is one that I know many of you have been waiting to hear some news on for quite some time, and that is Dead Static Drive. This is an indie survival horror game following a nightmarish road trip across a 1980s Americana, and ultimately the art style and unique premise has already sold me on this title. At its core, it is a survival game, and Dead Static Drive will see players needing to scavenge, fight, sneak, and explore in order to stop the continuing violence of an estranged father. It looks totally awesome, and we finally have a release window, and it's still a while away. However, it arrives into Game Pass in Q3 2024. Now, this next title surprised us all at the Xbox Bethesda showcase back in June, and it's taking a well-established roguelike formula but pitting players together in a large co-op adventure. In 33 Immortals, you embody a soul who has been damned by God, and you join a rebellion composed of 32 other souls fighting to reclaim their eternal lives. You'll be using an arsenal of weapons and relics based on sins and virtues, fight your way out of damnation through hordes of monsters and massive bosses. It looks like a fantastic indie co-op roguelike, and working together will be 100% necessary. It comes to Game Pass via early access sometime in 2024. We all know this next title, and that is because the current version of it is the best looking game we have on Xbox. Microsoft Flight Simulator is beloved by many games, and we have great news as Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is flying straight into Game Pass next year. This brand new simulator experience promises to take the already fantastic simulation of cloud and machine learning to a whole new level. The devs are promising more sophisticated flying and an even more immersive and awe-inspiring experience. From hot air balloons to gliders, there's going to be so much more content to dive into. One game intrigued me back at the Xbox Bethesda showcase, and that is because it reminds me so much of Castle Crashers back on the Xbox 360. Towerborn is an action RPG from the makers of the Banner Saga trilogy, and it looks like Stoic Studio have a gem on their hands. You'll begin by creating your own character or ace before diving into the adventure and developing your own playstyle with various skills, gear, and companions. Most interestingly, Towerborn features an evolving world map and seasonal content, so there'll always be new areas to explore, enemies to defeat, and stories to experience. It looks fantastic from the gameplay and preview so far, and it comes to Game Pass in the first half of next year. Fable needs absolutely no introduction, as I think it's easily one, or if not the most anticipated Xbox game that's currently in development. We got to finally see more gameplay of this title earlier this year, and my word did it blow us away with its fantastic presentation and nailing the British humour. Playground Games definitely seem to be the right fit for the Fable franchise, and so far what we see and hear about this game is nothing but positive. I know many can't wait to explore the world of Albion again, as it's been many years since Fable 3, and we don't have to wait much longer for this RPG as it is slated for a potential 2024 release. This next entry into this list is actually a selection of games, and that is a whole large batch of Activision Blizzard titles. We have now had confirmation that Microsoft were successful in the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and that means only one thing for Game Pass members, and that's more games joining the service in 2024. That said, Microsoft have already suggested that it might take some time for these titles to join the service, and Activision Blizzard has confirmed that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 won't be available until next year. There are going to be so many games arriving, and I'm hopeful we'll see the additions of Sekiro, Crash Bandicoot, and even older franchises such as Prototype. Make sure you subscribe down below to keep up to date for these games when they finally get dates for Game Pass. What game are you looking forward to on this list? Let me know in the comments below if you haven't already. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like and consider subscribing for more Xbox content every single week. Whilst here, check out the video on screen now of 16 awesome games arriving onto Xbox Game Pass this November.